Look, this is what I say about chicks on the sidelines and women reporters. They get fed shit in their headphones so they don't know anything. Number 2, put some pads on them. Tell them, go play one fucking down, and then you can play. Then you can report. Get some pads. I'll even put them in a 7th grade game or a 9th grade game. How about just varsity ball? They have to go out, pad up, and work the defensive line if they talk about it. They got to intercept a pass and get slobber knocked the shit out of them to do it, okay? Because if you're a girl and you have no experience at reporting it, and you can say, well, neither did Stephen A., he didn't play. But guys that played football and tackle football their whole lives in the street or somewhere. In the back, we used to do it in the street. Tackle in the freaking street football.
That's some real shit.
That never happened.
Yes, it did.
No, it didn't.
Scraped up arms. Yes, it did. And we were horrible. Everybody had 15 broken arms a month in our neighborhood.
Your dad played.
But anyway,
that
that's
shit.
that.
Coming to you live from their new studio in San Antonio, Texas. It's the SLOBBERKNOCKER Sports Podcast. Now here are your hosts, Dylan and Turner.
Welcome to the SLOBBERKNOCKER Sports Podcast, our 12th episode, and we're coming to you live from the studio here in San Antonio, Texas. Our brand new studio that has been built, ready to go. We're excited to be here, and we have a treat for you guys today as Big Dog is going to enter right here.
Big Dog is in the building.
He's welcome to walk in.
Okay, here he comes.
Now.
Oh, there he is. Give it up for Big Dog. Look at that.
Try to get in the chair there, buddy. Oh, there you go.
Can't have a belt buckle like that without some big cojones.
God.
All right?
All right.
Some big cojones.
You don't have
and we know that nobody has those but me.
Godzilla balls himself.
Let's go.
I'm your host, Dylan Leak, joined as always by my man Turner and Big Dog here today. And not only are we in the new set, we've been saying this for a while, we are going to be giving away a jersey. So I'm going to tell you real quick how to qualify for that jersey. It's going to be a brand new San Antonio Spurs Victor Wembanyama jersey, Fiesta edition. And basically what you have to do, you have 2 chances to win. The first thing you got to do is, if you want one chance, you got to be subscribed to our podcast on YouTube. And you must like and comment on this episode of the podcast. Make sure you can put any comment you want. Doesn't have to be long, just a short comment. Tell us what you like, don't like, tell us we suck, whatever you want to do, and put your name at the bottom of the comment. That's the first way. If you want a second chance to win, go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever. Give us a 5-star review. Leave a comment with your name in it, and that is a chance to enter as well.
All right.
So,
you got to wrap that shit up.
Let's go.
Yeah, Big Dog's
Look,
got
this
shit
is important.
to do.
I have got shit to do in the studio
He's
today.
got money to fucking make.
I've got money to make, baby. Let's go. Let's make this thing roll. What am I doing?
all right, so we'll start with Sunday standouts.
Smart son of a bitch.
Okay, so number 1, we're going to start with what we do always, and that is the Dallas Cowboys. And every single time, every fucking time you think, man, they've turned a corner, they go back and rip your heart completely out. And that is what happened yesterday. A 31-10 debacle in Buffalo. 1 offensive touchdown. Dak Prescott in 1 foul swoop lost the number 1 overall seed, the division crown, and the MVP. And Dallas, just like that, is a wild card team in the NFC. What happened to Dallas yesterday?
It's simple. Because I can read football. All right, number 1. Okay. Number 1, they played for the run. They let Micah just go through the line every time. They dropped their backs back. They let Micah to the quarterback the entire time. A great play scheme by that idiot that they show in the booth. What's the stupid
Joe
fucking
Brady?
genius.
Joe, what? They keep showing this dumbass in the booth like he's the coach. They're showing him more than McDermott, which means that owner's probably going to push for McDermott out and this little chump in. Number 1, he did scheme better. Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn did not adjust 1 iota. And that's what I saw, and that was what was on Morning Talk all day. They did not adjust whatsoever. So they decided, we're shutting down any long plays. You're going to do short plays. Dak didn't check down. They didn't run the ball. Pollard started to run well. He's out. What is he doing out all the time? He goes out every 3rd play. He does not play. Supposedly an all-down back does not play. How many yards do you have? 49 yards.
Yeah, but he didn't get any carries, and that's also because Mike McCarthy just randomly puts fucking Rico Dowdle in there.
Doesn't matter.
It's your dad's boy.
He's
your
so
dad knows,
fucking
Your
bad.
dad knows ball.
Let me see. Yeah, I know football. Give me a
Guy
break.
fucking
Read the
knows
book
ball.
50 Years of Football when I was 4 years old. I was watching Dallas Cowboys picking quarterbacks. But that's another issue.
You
Real
didn't
quick,
even finish high school.
let me say,
okay? You
yes.
can't fucking read.
Oh my God, I'm finished. I can teach college. I'm a professor. A fucking professor.
He is
I can
a
teach.
professor.
Thank you. Honorary
I saw
professor.
that. I saw that
teach,
professor document. It was
I
like
can
in
teach in
crayon.
any college today, including UCLA. Okay, so let's just get off of that whole education. They don't even go there. So, by the way, fucking like scholar was straight A's. By first grade, I was already in sixth grade mentally.
You were going to be a Rhodes Scholar,
Yeah.
and then you decided to get up
Music.
on the road and head out to
At
do
10
some
years
music.
old, I was
Yes.
already making money in the music business.
Yes.
Why would I do? I'm making $100 for 30 minutes. I'm like, hey man, this is fucking good money. All right. So anyway, while everybody else is doodly dallying around asking mommy for money, I'm out spending my own cash and paying my brother to drive me to a gig because he had no money. Okay, what does that have to say? Okay, who was smarter in that family? So anyway, bottom line is that they let him pass the ball down. He didn't check down, went for the long pass. Let's look at it. I'm gonna break it down real quick. I'm gonna be fast.
What you just said
If
makes
you-
no sense.
Yeah,
They
it
ran
does.
the ball the whole game.
No, we sucked running the ball. So
You're talking about us.
Yeah. Yeah, they ran the ball the whole game. That was their scheme. But here's it is in a nutshell. If you take away the long bomb, the pass into triple coverage, the penalty for hitting
Josh Allen.
the penalty for pass interference. What?
Keep going.
If you take those
This is a lot of stuff we're
No,
taking
it's not.
away.
Think about it. You take away a bullshit call at third and pass interference at 3rd and 19. Was it which one was it 3rd and 19?
No, it was 2nd and 19. The ball
The
was
fumble.
already the ball was already complete, and J-Ron Curse hit him late, and it was a 15-yarder game.
15-yarder.
Would have been 3rd
So
and 19.
what I'm saying is, you take those 4 plays away. Not that I think they actually would have won that game. I don't think they're going to win in dark. By the way, light the fucking field up. Buffalo sucks. Who wants to live there? Number one. Number two, it's a shit town. I played Buffalo, man. That's a shit town.
They've been asking for him to go back for
my
fucking
God,
years,
man.
and
The
he said,
80s,
I'm not
we played
going
Buffalo, nothing but ugly girls. I mean, butt-ass ugly girls. Seriously.
Okay,
butt-ass
Charles
ugly girls.
Barkley.
Butt-ass ugly girls. And they're dumb as shit. The girls are out there. So anyway, that's number one. Number two, who wants to play that damn hellhole? Number two, who the hell wants to live there? I looked at real estate there just to look at it the other day. My God, you can buy yourself a shit palace for about $200,000. And when I mean a shit palace, I mean a palace that's a piece of shit. But anyway, that's
pretty
all they do is live.
self-explanatory.
That's all they do is live for this football team. They better do an indoor stadium, because that thing get a retracting roof, because that place is a shit house. Anyway, hard place to play, dark field, get some lights, call GE or something, get a sponsorship. By the way, number two, you can't even get a correct camera angle in Buffalo because of the way that the stadium's set up. Number three, those penalty plays, you take them away, you get Dak to run the ball, check down, we win that game. We don't win that game, I'm sorry, we're in that game. Bottom line, those plays really did knock all momentum.
Okay, hold
now,
on.
the rest of it is Mike McCarthy. No, let me finish one last thing. And the bottom line is, Dan Quinn has had 4 bad, poor as shit games he's called. This was one of them. He sticks with the same thing. And number one, Curse should never be playing for the Dallas Cowboys.
Been saying that for years.
He's
for
the
whole year.
worst defensive player on our team. Absolutely the worst. Now I'm out. That's the way it went down. If you were, and you say, well, if you take this play, you take that play. No, there's one-sided plays. You don't call the pass roughing the passer. You don't call that late hit. It's ridiculous.
Let the boys play ball
Let
is
'em
what
play
Big
ball.
Dog's trying to say. So basically we learned from Big Dog, if we take away 72 penalties on the Buffalo Bills, the Bills win by
No
3
shit.
and not 35.
That's great.
So thank you, Big Dog, for that.
By 3.
yeah, the Bills would have won by 3, not 30.
Yeah.
And, the
Genius
game.
shit right there.
It's fucking big brain
I'm
shit.
thinking in terms
from
of
Big
mathematics.
Dog. Yeah. Hey, the air's thin up there, right?
Yeah,
That's what you always
I'm
say.
alone up
It's
there at
lone.
55,000 feet.
It's real lonely
It's
up
like
there.
space up there.
Yeah, basically,
Like Gravity,
space.
the movie.
The game just came down to Dan Quinn refusing. He didn't make a good point there. Refusing to change out of the defense. The whole philosophy of the game was to make the Bills run the ball, because typically they throw it all over the yard. And when Joe Brady and Josh Allen counted the number of people in the box, and it was a 6-man box every single time, they handed the ball off 35 times in the game. They ran it all over the Cowboys, and I think it was as simple as that. Also, though, Big Dog touched on a great point. If it wasn't for those 70 penalties, Bills by 3, not Bills by 30.
Well, let me say this. I want to break this down real quick.
This is my segment, so y'all two talk quick.
I want to break this down real quick.
This is my fucking segment.
All right, so
let's go.
The things that you're saying about the penalties, all of these are on Mike McCarthy, okay? And I've been saying this all year. Yes, it is. Okay, Turner made a great point. We were watching the game together on the late hit on Josh Allen. Were the officials bad yesterday? Yes, they were. But the play where DeMarcus Ware hit Josh Allen, it was a full second after. Yes, Josh Allen completely flopped, but Turner said it. Why would you even put your hands on him? There's no need to even touch him and give him the opportunity to flop. So we had gotten a stop right there, right? So if you get that stop, it's 3 points at most. Instead, they get 7. That's 4 points right there. Okay. Then let's go to what's John Fossil's son's name, the special teams coordinator for the Cowboys. Man, that dude, Sam Williams, number 54 for the Cowboys, 3 fucking times this year has roughed the punter. He literally looked like he had not been coached on how to block a punt. He dodged the ball. He got straight in the backfield. So we roughed the punter there on a stop, and they get they get 7 points on that drive. There's 11 points right there. And then you go to the curse penalty. Instead of a 3rd and 19, the ball's already incomplete. He hits him up high, whether it was a personal foul or not sure. But again, undisciplined football. Why are you making the play? Why are you putting your hands on him? You saw Mike McCarthy on the sideline talking to Fossil, the special teams coordinator, after the block punt. You see Mike McCarthy on the sideline, and it's like, this is the most penalized team in the league. It's not anything new. We've known this for weeks. We've said this. They're the number 1 offsides team in the league. They're the number 1 penalized team in the league. They have the most penalty yards in the league.
Had that game,
that is discipline. Yes,
game.
It came down to the defense, but the problem with the defense isn't just Dan Quinn. It's the fact when they play from a negative game script, bad things happen. When the Cowboys are ahead and their pass rushers can get off and go pressure the ball and the offense is one-dimensional like the Eagles were last week, the Cowboys defense looks like a top 5 defense. When the defense is playing against a team when we're down and there's balance and Dan Quinn can, drops guys back and teams can run all over us and teams can move the ball. Cardinals did it week 2 when they got ahead on us. Philly did it when they got ahead on us. Buffalo did it yesterday, right? It's what happens to us. San Francisco as well. So those are the biggest issues with the team, but it was a horrific loss for the Cowboys, especially with Jalen Hurts being out possibly tonight.
No, he's
the
not
Eagles
gonna,
could lose.
Our guy Jalen.
Black Tom Brady's playing. The Black Tom Brady is playing.
Oh
okay,
my God.
The Black BTB is playing. Number 1, number 2. I have a little gripe here. When I suggest, because Bailey, our producer, and Alex, when I want a colored lighting underneath those shelves, let's freaking get them.
Yeah.
When I say something, I want
when
colored
big
light
dogs,
on me.
When Big Dog
I don't like white light on me.
right.
When I play arenas, used to tell the guy, like, if you put the white lights on me, you're fired. And he goes, I don't even work for you. I said, it doesn't matter. I'll fucking make
One
sure
other big thing that
now,
we need to get into, though. Are you going to go Cowboys again?
No, I'm done.
Well, I think, your dad made I don't know if I'd call it a good point, but what were you saying this week as far as, sideline? Yeah.
And by the way,
there's
these girls on the fucking sidelines. Are you fucking what? What are you telling me? Wrap it up? Oh, these girls I don't give a fuck. These girls on the sidelines.
Let it all out.
Because of quotas. Number 1, I don't want to see any chicks on the sides. This is why I don't want to see any chicks on the sidelines, or girls or whatever, women or whatever. There's 3 reasons, and all of them are good. Legal purposes. With everything in the litigious world, somebody said something that disrupted me. I was offended. So they're suing a player next because he said something, or he accidentally hit her. He accidentally touched her in some way. I mean, I meant like he just ran into her or something.
Well, there is the old...
So unless they have a waiver,
Favre saga.
Yeah. Well, if they have if they have a waiver and it's all clear, like if a player accidentally runs into you or something, you can't or whatever, forget it. Number 2, look. This is what I say about chicks on the sidelines and women reporters. They get fed shit in their headphones so they don't know anything. Number 2, put some pads on them. Tell them go play 1 fucking down and then you can play. Then you can report. Get some pads. I'll even put them in a 7th grade game or a 9th grade game. How about just varsity ball? They have to go out, pad up, and work the defensive line if they talk about it. They got to intercept a pass and get slobber knocked the shit out of them to do it, okay? Because if you're a girl and you have no experience at reporting it, and you can say, well, neither did Stephen A., he didn't play. But guys have played football and tackle football their whole lives in the street or somewhere. In the back, we used to do it in the street. Tackle in the freaking street football.
That's some real shit.
That never happened.
Yes, it did.
No, it didn't.
Scraped up arms. Yes, it did. And we were horrible. Everybody had 15 broken arms a month in our neighborhood.
Dad played
but anyway,
through that
that's
shit.
that. No girls on the sideline. I can't stand girl reporters even. But goodness gracious, on the sidelines, now they've got a quota. The girl has to give them water. And the college games. Can you imagine college kids that are sitting there with their testosterone? And these boys are all horny at college. Seriously, they're horny as shit. That's all they do.
Okay.
And they're going out there to play in front of a bunch of girls are walking down the sideline. And no matter how they're dressed, it's still a girl. And you're feeding them water. It's ridiculous. It's serious. And I'm not, chauvinistic. I marched. No, I'm just teasing. But I did. I was brought up by
You
women.
marched women's rights, too?
I was brought up by women. I respect women. I never said, in high school, never talked about women that I dated. If we were in a room full of guys, I didn't speak about any woman that I dated. When they started speaking at a party recently in our reunion, I said, I don't want to hear about that stuff. Don't talk about a girl that's not here. So I don't want to go off on that crap. My mom brought me up. My grandmother brought me up. Women around my house the entire time of my life. It's just a matter of, I know girls that are friends of mine that don't want to see it either. Even Julie. My wife, she's like, God, I don't either. Like, who? There's a lot of girls that don't even want to see this. They think it's stupid, and you're giving them special privileges. And the girl refs, the girl fucking comes in the league while these guys are having to coach fucking 4A football for 17 years and then go up to college and you get graded. And this chick's out there, and they're not even in shape. These chicks, they can't even run. They can't mark the ball.
Big old women.
And they bring them in and train them in the NFL and put them in a pro football game. Can you imagine the guy that's going up through the ropes at college and the pros and the semi-pros and traveling in a car right now in some hotel where he gets a per diem of $15 and the girl is starting an NFL. Roger Goodell doesn't give a shit about any girl football bullshit. He's just doing it because the pressure's on him. So I'm done with my rant. I'm out. I'm back to make some money. And by the way, I will have a new jacket, custom made, coming up for the championship series out of Dubai. My boys in Dubai right now, with these little kids that they hire, are sewing my jackets right now. All right? And I, hey, what? My daughter gives me crap about that, but you know what? I'm employing some kids over there right now.
How many kids do you think it took to make that
well,
jacket?
I didn't like the way they
How many hours?
I didn't like the way they
How
did
much hand stitching?
We're towing
is
the
on-
line here, boys.
I didn't like the way that they stitched the front. So my guys, and I don't know, girls or guys over there, how old they are. I said, please make them over, 16, 17, or sewing the jacket again.
How nice of you.
Thank you.
Look,
Because I do care about educating and feeding the world.
Your dad's character is almost as bad as Colby Covington in the UFC. He's borderline Colby
But I
Covington.
believe this stuff.
Yeah, I know he does.
That's the sad part about it all.
I think that why wouldn't you want to educate, give people money that need it? All right?
All right. Well,
Contributing to third world countries is a damn kind thing.
all right. Let's somehow
And to Americans.
somehow transition here to the next Sunday standout. All right. So Jags last night squander a massive opportunity
this
to
guy
take
was
control.
taking shots at our boy.
Yeah, my boy's
Taking
good.
control
He's
of the
hurt right
division,
now. All right, go
and
ahead.
instead, Trevor Lawrence does what Trevor Lawrence does, and that's shit his pants. And that's what he did last night.
No.
He fumbled the ball. Did you see the fumble last night? He literally was running with the ball. No one touched him, and he dropped the motherfucking thing inside the 10-yard line. The Jags were inside the 40-yard line of the Ravens 4 times in the first half and came away with 0 points. Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence together are an absolute shit show. Last night, they get the ball inside the 5-yard line with 23 seconds to go.
All
The
right.
clock is running. They run up to the line. All they got to fucking do is spike it. You're going to get 2
that's
shots
just
at
a
the end zone. At very least, you get a
miscommunication.
field goal. And instead, Trevor Lawrence goes up to the line and calls a play. He snaps the ball with 13 seconds.
Yeah.
He throws the ball short of the end zone.
It's all right.
The guy is tackled in bounds, and they don't get any points. It's ridiculous.
Let me-
No, I'm not done yet.
Oh, come on,
He's
hurry
a
up.
bum. You
No.
just talked for 40 minutes, all right?
Yeah, because that's my take.
Your dad's got a lot of shit
Also,
to talk
turn the
about.
AC on in my own studio here. I
We
want
know
some
you.
AC
We
here.
know you keep it very,
Okay.
very high on there, so that
Let's
you
go.
know when we walk out, we might put on 74, and then when we
Damn
walk out, you
nation.
raise it back to 80. But
Man.
anyway, Trevor bum, Doug Peterson bum, and they are probably not going to win the division now.
I'll let you go, but I'm just going to say one thing. Number one, 1-15 without Dougie, Super Bowl author, and Trevor. 1-15 without Doug Peterson. They're going to be in the playoffs 2 years in a row. Go ahead.
No, nailed it. We're going to win the division.
Yeah.
Things don't look great right now.
He's not playing well right now. I'm going to give
42 turnovers in 3 seasons.
So what?
35 picks.
Brett Favre had turnovers every
What are you
you're going to compare Brett Favre to Trevor Lawerence?
Stats. Who gives a shit about
care about
stats?
fucking stats.
I make my own
around
stats
here,
of
buddy.
stats. I watch football.
That's right.
All right, let's go. Bad mistake at the end there, but that's just Trevor being dumb. He ain't the brightest guy in the world. Nobody said that. Guy's dumb as a box of rocks.
Yeah, he is, but he can throw that football.
He can throw that football.
Oh, he throws to the other team plenty of times.
No, he's great. Next one. Oh, I thought I was only in for this one. Is that it for me?
No, we got one more, and then we're doing picks. Last one, real quick. This is just a quick one. I just got a question. So we know on Thursday following, or I guess it was Friday morning, following the shit show of the Los Angeles Chargers where they lost 63-21. They fired head coach Brandon Staley.
Yes.
Long time coming. We've been pushing for that for a while.
Everyone
Now,
has.
I'm curious who you guys think, and I'm going to tell you who I think the Chargers should go get. And here's my take. I believe that the Chargers should go throw as much money as they possibly can at Jim Harbaugh, okay? Jim Harbaugh. He's obviously done an incredible job at Michigan, right? This guy is a stud. He was 49-22 in the NFL as a head coach. He's 142-52 in college. That's over 73% winning percentage in college. He's been a stud. He's won wherever he's gone. And you look at that team, they have plenty of talent. Justin Herbert at quarterback, Keenan Allen at wide receiver, Mike Williams, who's been out this year at wide receiver. On the defensive end, they got Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Derwin James. It's plenty of foundation there. You get a good coach in there. That team can be a Super Bowl contender.
They have no picks. You go.
Yeah. No, I don't hate that idea. I think he's either going to go. They say, I think of Jim Harbaugh, especially if he wins the national championship.
Which he's not.
Which I'm just saying, if he did.
What if he didn't?
Well, either way, what are you going to say?
I think either way he goes to the NFL.
All right.
But he does want to try to win a national championship at Michigan, obviously. That's his goal. So and his team will be good. McCarthy's coming back again next year, right? He's not done? J.J. McCarthy?
Yeah, he's got one more year.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that he definitely wants to try to win a championship there. I think that if he did win it, it would be the perfect scenario to ride off in the sunset, take one of the NFL coaching jobs. And it'll be either the Raiders or the Chargers.
All right, this
I
is
don't know
where it's
why
going
he'd
to be.
take the Raiders.
No, he's not taking the Raiders, and if he's smart, he's not taking the Chargers.
Why would he not take the Chargers?
Just listen to me.
Raiders is better than
the
Carolina.
Chargers organization and I know about people with money. I know about people with money. The Chargers organization and owners, the worst, tightest mofo, one of the tightest in the league. Now, granted, Chicago, where he was a quarterback and liked my band in the 80s and went on TV and said so when he won the Super Bowl as a backup. So I have that on video. And he actually, if he's smart, he'll end up there in the Midwest at Chicago, where he was a quarterback, become like a Mike Ditka figure. If he's smart, he'll take that job, take the pick, get what you can. I don't think he'll keep Fields. You're only going to get a second-round pick for him. Got to get rid of that guy. And I think I would take the Chicago job with a lot of power, and the GM has to go. The only reason why he won't is because I don't think the owner wants the GM to go, who, by the way, is horrible. But, yeah, so I do think the Chargers is a possible destination for him because I think this one's up to his wife, where they actually want to live. Michigan, NCAA is going to come down on him. He will not be coaching at Michigan next year.
That's not happening.
He's going to not be coaching. Yes,
I'm not saying that he's not going to coach at Michigan because I think he's going to go to the NFL. But why on the NCAA is not coming down on him?
Okay, we'll see.
The NCAA doesn't care anymore.
We'll see.
Why would they give a shit? They don't have any rules anyway. They have no power.
Well,
they likely won't be even the governing body of college football for much longer. They're not.
It doesn't matter. He's not going to stay there. He's under controversy.
Hold on. If you didn't get Jim Harbaugh, if you were the Chargers, the other options I saw out there were Ben Johnson, the OC from the Lions, who's done a really good job there, and Dan Quinn was another one, and then they want a big name. They want a big name. Brandon Staley. They want a big name. That's why I think they're going to go with Jim Harbaugh.
Well, they'll try to get him. I'm not saying that.
You don't think his wife would want to live in San Diego?
They'll give him a house.
Or Los Angeles?
Yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons of that. You can live in Los Angeles cheaper than you can in San Antonio, Texas right now. That's not the problem. The problem is the kids, schools and all that. Growing up, does he want them in L.A.? But he is a West Coast guy, so it's a possibility. Yes, it is a possibility.
A lot of shit on those sidewalks these days.
Yeah, but it's all right.
Here.
All right, we'll move on to
All right,
our
let's
picks.
go because I really got to roll on this.
You
Seriously.
say this every week, but you
No,
really
I've got to
don't have
roll.
anything
Yes,
else.
I do.
Really,
Go.
what do you have going on today?
A lot.
Like what?
Money. Let's go.
He's got to get over to fucking Texas Roadhouse for the
Let's
early
go.
bird
Yeah,
specials
no, I'm not
Monday,
eating that
dude.
tonight. I can't eat more steak.
Oh, no.
Steak's not good for the heart. All right, let's go.
That was a nice save there. He's definitely going to go over
No,
there
I'm not going
right
there
after
tonight.
this.
No,
He's
I'm
gonna
not.
go eat a
Eating
giant
chicken,
steak.
shredded chicken. That's all I fucking eat. Let's go.
Okay. All right.
Fucking beast. Let's
So
go.
we've got the holidays coming up. So we've got Thursday, December 21st. The
Yes.
Saints traveling to the Rams,
Yes.
and the Rams are a 4.5-point favorite.
Rams by a touchdown.
Yeah, Rams are going to win by 2 touchdowns. Next one.
I'm going to say Rams by 10.
They'll make the playoffs too. Keep going.
Saturday, we've got 2 games. We have
go.
a big matchup in the AFC where the Bengals are traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers, and the line is Cincinnati minus 2.5.
Is what's his name playing the quarterback?
They don't know who's we don't know who's starting for the Steelers, but Kenny Pickett is out. It's either going to be Trubisky or it's going to be Mason Rudolph. I have a feeling it's going to be Mason
They're
Rudolph.
starting Rudolph.
I have a feeling it's gonna be
I
Rudolph.
picked the Steelers in that game
How much?
by a field goal.
Oh, damn. All right, I'll take the Bengals by a field goal.
Next one.
Man, that's such a coin flip.
Next one.
I was going to
I
take
have
the
to pick.
Steelers, but you're dead.
Quit saying next one before I pick the game.
Oh,
dumb
well, hurry
fuck.
up. You pick first.
You
you pick them first. Let's go.
Let's go. I'll go with no. I always pick last. Give me the Bengals by 3.
All right, let's go.
For some reason, the game on Saturday night is on Peacock.
Yeah.
The Bills traveling to the Chargers, must win for Buffalo. They're a 12-point favorite.
What do you got, Mr. Lee?
Let's go. Let's go.
Cal-
Hurry up.
Chargers,
Pick it.
Chargers are going to keep it close, but yeah, the Bills are going to win the game.
How much? You got
I
to
don't
understand
care
how
about the point spread
that
shit.
just pick by how much they're going to win.
7.
God.
14.
14. Give me the Bills by 10.
All right.
All right, moving on. Christmas Eve. We got a big slate of games on Christmas Eve. Quite the treat. Starting with the noon games. Colts at the Falcons. Colts by 2.5 is the line.
Colts by 3.
This just, Garner Minshew's going to blow it. Falcons by 1 on the last second field goal.
Look, this should be a pick where I agree with you, Turner, and take the Falcons. Everything screams Falcons, but I think the Colts or the Texans, one of the two, is going to win the division, and I'm rooting against the Jaguars. So I'm going to pick the Colts. I'm going to pick the Colts 1 by 3.
Okay.
All right, Seahawks at the Titans. Seahawks by 2.5.
Titans by 7.
I love the calculation.
Titans by 7.
Greg.
That's a done deal.
I
Go.
just, when you sit there and pause and just get quiet, it's like Rain Man numbers going
Yeah,
on. Right?
yeah, I
It's
gotta
like,
do the math.
There's so much shit going
like I'm
on. Like,
fucking like- well, I'm thinking like- I don't-
it's like the old Jeremy Lin memes when he'd
Yeah.
go up for a layup and all the
the
equations are
thoughts.
above
Yeah,
him.
that's what I think.
I will take the Titans by a field goal.
All right, Dylan.
Give me the Titans by 4.
All right, next game.
Lions at the Vikings. Lions 3-point favorites.
Vikings win by 7.
Lions by exactly 3.
Man, I guess I hate taking the Lions on the road, but it is in a dome. Give me the Lions by 3 as well. Commanders at the Jets. Somehow, some way, the Jets are a favorite in this game by 3 points.
Commanders.
Jets by 7.
Man,
Give me Trevor Siemian and the boys.
this is so. Jets by 2.
All right.
Packers at the Panthers.
Packers by 7.
Packers by 10.
You could bet your house on that pick. Go ahead.
I kind of wanted to take the Panthers just because he said that.
All right.
Give me the Packers by a field goal.
All right, what else?
Browns at the Texans. Texans 2.5. Huge game with playoff implications here.
Texans are going to win that game by 7 points.
Texans by 3.
Yeah, I want the Browns to win this game. I'll be pulling for them, but I'm going to go Texans by a touchdown. The Browns
All
are
right.
due for a loss. Afternoon games. Jaguars at the Buccaneers. Jaguars are a 1-point favorite only.
Buccaneers.
What? You picked
No,
against
actually,
Trevor
I'm sorry. My bad,
2
my
weeks
bad.
in a row?
My bad. Jaguars by 3.
Jaguars by 3.
I'm so glad
The
y'all did
Jags
that.
stick together,
Give
baby.
me the Bucks, baby. Give me
All
the
right.
Bucks, baby. I'll
actually
take the
think
Bucks by 10. Bucks win by
Psych.
double digits.
Lights in the helmets. Let's get going here.
All right.
Step it up. Yeah, lights in the helmets.
Cardinals at the
Good
Bears.
God.
Cardinals at the Bears.
I mean, don't change my shit around.
Cardinals at the Bears.
Jeez Louise, you need lights now.
Let's
Cardinals
go.
at the Bears. Bears by 7.
Bears by 10. I like the way that defense is playing.
Defense is playing really well, but they're just not good enough on offense to blow anybody out. Give me the Bears by a field goal.
Next one.
Cowboys, huge game for the Dolphins. Really not that big anymore for the Cowboys. Obviously, we know about the road woes. 3-4 on the road for Dallas this year. Miami, a 1.5-point favorite at home.
Dallas loses by 3. No, I'm sorry, by 7. Go ahead.
I want to pick the Cowboys in the spot. I really do, but they're so bad on the road. But the weather's going to be fine in Miami, probably. I'll take the Cowboys by 3.
Yeah, I'm taking the Cowboys by 7. Huge bounce back here. Dolphins have not beaten a good team all year. They will not do so in that one. Last one on Christmas Eve. Sunday.
And by the way, if the Cowboys play Tua, just take him out. Seriously.
Why? We want him and he's horrible.
No, I'm saying take him out. The Cowboys are going to blitz him and knock his ass out and give him a concussion. Just go for it. Seriously, get the 15 yards. I would literally make that a mission, like a bounty on that guy's head, because he doesn't belong in the NFL. He's the suckiest-ass quarterback that ever played in the NFL.
If you're
number one, there is no good lefty quarterbacks.
That's right.
Ever.
That's true.
All right, go ahead.
Lefties are gross.
Go.
But I will
Knock
say,
that butthole out.
we don't
Let's go.
condone Bounty Gate.
Oh, just bullshit.
Everything else we stand by.
Let's go.
These
Knock
just
him
kidding.
out. Knock him fucking
I'm
out.
kidding.
All
We don't stand by anything this man has said in this podcast. Please, all his opinions and ideas are his and his
There's
alone.
no disclaimers when I'm on the fucking air. Let's go.
Thank God we're not live. Patriots at the Broncos on Christmas Eve night. Broncos favored by 6.
It's just Broncos by 14.
Broncos by 10.
Broncos by 11.
All right. That's it?
All right, then we got Christmas games, 3 of them.
Oh.
Early kickoff, Raiders at the Chiefs. Chiefs by 10.
Raiders at the Chiefs. Chiefs by 14.
Hey, let's go ahead and just pump the brakes here real quick. How about your boy O'Connell? Do you know how to call fucking quarterbacks?
Preseason, I pick him after 4 passes. Is there any quarterback that I don't pick? Let's move on.
Fucking
so
guru.
bad.
Oh, just don't even go.
Guru.
I said he could play in the NFL.
He
didn't say he's an
can.
Chiefs
all-star.
by 10.
He's
Move
horrible.
on, move on.
He's horrific.
Oh, yeah. No one I don't pick. No one.
That's your guy.
Chiefs are going to win. They won't cover because they don't look good right now. They're going by 7.
Yeah, that's it.
Giants at the Eagles.
Who cares?
Eagles by
That's
10.5.
stupid. Giants at the Eagles. Giants keep it closer than you think. By
Who cares?
Tommy
it's a close
DeVito.
game.
Eagles by
Another one of
7.
another
Eagles
one of
by
your
only
boys.
7.
Eagles by 4.
Eagles
next
by 10. Tommy DeVito's horrible.
Yeah, sure.
Ravens at the Niners on Christmas night.
That's gonna be the Niners are gonna beat the shit out of them, and this is gonna be probably close to the Super Bowl pick. Niners are winning the Super Bowl, but as far as the pick, it might be the Ravens that are playing them. But the way I saw Lamar play, who's my boy, my new team, because I hate the Cowboys now after 50 years. But my point is, and Lamar's not playing that well. And Lamar sometimes he passes up. He's dumb as a box rush when he comes off the wrong reads. He looks like a lame quarterback. But anyway, but he is a magical player. But anyway,
He's majestic.
he is. But
He is
anyway, Ravens are going to get shown reality, and they're going to beat the shit out of them.
Who is? Wait, what?
The San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Niners by, we'll say 10.
This is a bet your baby bet, and I'll take the Niners minus
Bet
5.5 with a lot of money.
Now I want them
I'll
to
take
win.
the Niners by 14. They're going
With
to
the
beat
running
the
back
shit
out
of
with
them.
the Ravens, they are done.
Oh, did he tear his ACL last night?
I don't know if he did. He's
Who
done.
got hurt?
Keaton Mitchell.
Oh.
Done. That guy's
wait,
running
is it
all
Mitchell?
over everybody. Yeah, the 34.
Yeah, I think it's Keaton Mitchell.
He's done. Those guys
the
are
real
running
explosive
all
young rookie
over
back.
everybody, and without that, there's no damn way. That team is done. That's why. And why are you running him like a horse like that every damn play? That's stupid. I wouldn't have done that.
Real quick, but I'm going to say one thing right
move
here. Did y'all know that on that hit on Michael Pittman, DeMonte KZ got suspended for the entirety of the season? They suspended him for the rest of the season for that
That's
hit on Pittman.
wild.
That's wild.
I mean, I thought it was a pretty bad hit,
It was,
but I didn't
man.
know it was like a suspended the rest of the year.
thought it was
kinda
be a
hit.
big fine.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Do you have any words of wisdom? It's Christmas. We've got the holidays. You had some good takes for Thanksgiving. What are you doing What are you doing for Christmas?
Well, when I was a kid, I was so spoiled for a couple of years that I could kick out the 1971 Sears catalog and pick whatever I fucking wanted. Then Mom stopped that at about 10, and I'll never forgive her for that. Okay? So I went out and made money on my own at 11 and said, screw with this shit. I'm going to pick whatever I want.
It's not gonna
so
be a
that
hard
started my
candy fucking
entrepreneurship.
Christmas.
So all I look at Christmas as is a way to make a lot of money for people in the spirit to spend it and take a lot of money. So as far as spending on gifts and all that, I buy myself a lot of shit at Christmas, which I think everybody else should do. Don't buy a bunch of gifts buy one present and do help the homeless. I think we're even helping the homeless. I fed the homeless in L.A. when I was starving as a musician. I went and fed the homeless till there's a knife fight in front of me and blood went all over me. And I decided and really, seriously, and AIDS was really...
Are you talking about Vietnam? Or,
no, I fed the homeless in Santa Monica, on Santa Monica Boulevard. Okay. I went and fed them, and there was a knife fight in front of me, and then the blood got on me, and I said, that's it for that. I'm not going to go knife fighting. I don't want any knife fights and feeding them peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So yeah, help the homeless. Anybody you see that's cold, help. But as far as if you're okay and you give back to society, then you can be stingy and be piggish. So on Christmas Day and Christmas, I like to buy myself shit, and I'm going to buy myself lots of shit, and so should you. So if you're in the spirit, give one gift to everybody else and then say, oh, that was good. Do you like it? And make it a good gift. And then take every one of your bitten fucking dollars and buy yourself shit, because nobody's going to buy you the shit that you want. Santa's not bringing it to you. And so go buy it on your own.
I bet you raised hell when your mom told you couldn't get anything you wanted.
At 11, I had a fit all the way through 22.
I bet you fucking did.
At
I
22
just want to
years
order
old,
something from the Sears catalog.
When 22 years old, I said, why did you do that to me?
Yes.
That's traumatic shit.
And it's turned him into the monster he is today.
Yeah. So now I was like, I got to go make my own money. So at 11, I started playing drums for money and having my brother drive me to gigs and telling my mom and lying to my mom. And then when I got caught and got put in whatever she put it out for like
prison.
2 weeks, I still snuck out the back window, went and played. So that goes to show you what entrepreneurship and how fucking ballsy I was.
Speaking of prison, didn't you tell me you went to prison one time?
I have done time, and not that cushy little prison where Martha Stewart did her time. I'm talking about the real deal down in La Mexico. Okay?
I teed him up for that. He's been wanting to say that line for years.
That's Chris Elliott. The most famous, best skit in the world is Chris Elliott playing Stink the Bounty Hunter on Letterman.
That's Chris Elliott on Letterman, and he loves that. He walks around the house quoting
and he comes out and he grabs himself when he sits down. Okay?
I don't know how to follow that. The best Christmas advice I ever got was, I think it was freshman or sophomore year, and one of our 83-year-old football coaches made us all take a knee. I'm not kidding. He was like 83 years old in the locker room. And he said, don't buy that little slut you're dating right now a gift. You buy your mama something. Because
I love this guy.
Because
I love this
if you
guy.
piss your sheets, she ain't going to change it. And you ain't going to be dating her next year. So you go out and buy your mama something nice. And that was it.
I think there's a nicer way to put that, but that's a good, actually good
No, I
set
mean,
of
that's
advice.
how he put it.
Yeah. No, that's a great piece of advice.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, you can't
Words
beat
to
that.
live by.
You can't beat that stuff. It's something I would say to a sixth grade football team. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if that was as good as last week when he talked about drinking like a man with pink elephants, but we've had some good takes here. You got anything else for us, Big Dog?
No, that's it. I got to go. I want an exit song. I want color lights. Not joking. Color lights in the fucking helmets, that's a bad call. Color lights when I come on, y'all can have white. But when I get on, these two side lights need to be color.
You want like a light show when you
No,
come
I
in?
just want color lights
Dude,
to give the
lasers
set.
would be sweet.
I'll sweeten up the set later. Anyway, I'm out. Cut it now.
No, we got stuff to do still.
Oh my God. Y'all need to wrap this shit up.
We got stuff to do still.
Pause it.
Love you, big dog.
No, don't pause it yet.
Pause it.
Don't pause
Have
it.
a Merry
Get outta here.
Christmas.
This is how Chris Elliott walks in and he kind of does that. He kind of grabs it right there. All right? Everybody should grab it right there. All right? You should just grab it right there.
Bailey's back there. Bailey, the new producer on the show here, has literally gone like this for 90% of the show back there while Big Dog was in here. And he's like, you can't say that. You can't post this shit online, which I kind of agree with, but I think we're just going to have to do it.
I'm fucking
We're going to have to let Big Dog,
let Big Dog. Damn fucking thing.
Big
This is
Dog.
beautiful.
That was fucking funny.
All right, let's move on. We'll talk a little bit about the AFC playoff race here. And currently, after last night, the only team in the AFC to clinch a playoff spot so far is the Baltimore Ravens, and they did so with the win. Had they lost last night, there would have been no teams to clinch a spot. But the Ravens sit 11-3. They have a one-game lead in that one spot. The other divisional leaders right now, the Dolphins sit in the 2 spot, Chiefs in the 3rd, and Jags, although they're in a 3-way tie, are in the 4th spot. And let's talk about the Jaguars. So that AFC South division is a barn burner. It looked like the Jags were going to run away with it. They started 6-2. They've lost 4 of their last 6, and now all 3 teams are 8-6. We've got kind of the schedules in front of us here for the remaining games, but we know that the Jags hold the tiebreaker over the Colts. They beat them twice already. The Texans and the Jags splits, and the only teams that still need to play are the Colts and the Texans. Play a huge game the final week of the season in Indianapolis. Who do you think is going to actually win this division here?
I think the Jags, looking at the schedule here, by the way, very nice presentation, printing these off. Reminds me of like an old PowerPoint presentation that you would print off, and a lot of information here. But I
was
would
a very
say,
studious note taker
yes,
in college.
no shit. I can definitely tell. You're the guy you wanted in your group when
That's
I
right.
wasn't doing anything. And but the Jags have looked terrible lately, obviously. They have not looked very good, but they close the season with the Bucks, Panthers, and Titans. You would assume the Titans have nothing to play for the last week, probably better off losing that game. The Panthers are not going to beat the Jags at home, I don't think. A big game this week against the Bucks. If they could beat them, you would think they would definitely end up winning the division just because they hold the tiebreaker, like you said, already beat the Colts twice, right? So, and I think 2 of these teams are getting into the playoffs, right? I would assume.
Probably.
I think, unless the Bills, well, I guess the Bills are right there. I always forget about them, and I like them. So, but might just come down to that Texans-Colts game, Week 18, for that last spot. But will be interesting with Buffalo sitting right there at 8-6 too. There's a lot going on right now, and I'm glad the NFL added this extra playoff spot. Makes things a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of different scenarios. Like you said, you touched on it. No one had even clinched until last night.
Right.
The Ravens just did. So it will be interesting the last 3 weeks here. I think Buffalo can, like I said, I know we're just talking about the AFC South here, but I think Buffalo will find a way to sneak in. I really do at this point. But,
you've been adamant on Buffalo like this entire year, even when they were down. I'm not as high on Buffalo.
Yeah.
I just, even in the game against the Chiefs, it just didn't look very good. They played good early, and then really McDermott mismanaged the clock late, and if it weren't for that weird penalty, they lose the game there. I know they dominated Dallas yesterday. Even in that game, Josh Allen didn't look very good. Threw for 95 yards. But yeah, there's 9. If you include the Dolphins, there's 9 teams fighting for essentially 4 spots, 5 spots, 2 division championships, and 3 wild card spots. I think that the game this week with the Texans and Browns is massive because I just don't trust Trevor Lawrence, dude. He's got 45 turnovers over his first 3 seasons. He's fumbled the ball 15 times. He had 2 more last night. He turns the ball over too much. That's why the Jags are inconsistent. They've lost a lot of games at home this year. That Bucs game is not a gimme. The Bucs are playing pretty good football. I have to give it to them. They won again this week in Lambeau. I didn't think Baker could go in on the road and do that, but he did. Any chance the Colts? I mean, their defense just seems like a fraud, but they just keep fucking winning.
I think, you know what, knowing the Colts, they'll find a way to lose in Atlanta this week. I mean, that just seems that way.
That seems like that type of
spot. I assume the line's probably like somewhere near a pick 'em. I have no idea, but I assume it'll be something like that. Maybe the Falcons even favored by 1.
I think I looked last night, and I think the Colts were 2.5-point favorites.
So yeah, a close,
Could be
whatever,
wrong
a
there.
close line.
Yeah.
But my thing with this race is Jacksonville looks terrible on offense lately. Lawerence hadn't looked good. But when you just look at that schedule, playing the Bucs, say they lose to the Bucs, right? They're going to – I think they'll beat the Panthers and the Titans. So then the Colts would have to go –
Hey, Bailey has something to say, our producer, about the Titans, okay?
Yeah, he's a big Titans guy.
The Titans are going to pull off that massive upset that last week, I tell you. They're hard to beat at home.
Is Vrabel going to leave Tennessee, I wonder?
I don't know. I don't think so. I'd be shocked.
either.
I don't think they're going to fire him.
Well, apparently they say that not fire him. That Bob Kraft wants him in New England. That's like what people think.
But why would you go to fucking New England right now? They're a shit show. They have no quarterback. I mean, I know they're going to get a good pick, but it's like, why would you go there? To me, the Titans have a little bit better of a team right now. I know Bailey's over there shaking his head like he's not going. Like, but I just don't. I don't know why anyone. Why would the fuck would anyone want that job right now? That's like going to fucking Colorado right now in college. Why would you want to go there?
People like to go home, and that's kind of Vrabel's home. And if Bob Kraft came out and said, "Hey, I'll give you a 5-year deal, and you're gonna make $2 million more than you make in Tennessee," I think he would take the deal.
Maybe he would, but I
mean, Tennessee's not a great situation right now anyway. They're better than the freaking Patriots. There's zero doubt about that. But, I mean, when it comes to the Texans are the Jags in the next few years, they're not going to be probably near as good as those teams.
Yeah. Now, we'll say, looking at this race real quick, back to the AFC South, I think the Texans probably have a better shot to get in than the Colts just because I think they're a better team. But if they lose to the Browns this week, they might miss the playoffs. Like, that's a tough game. The Browns have been playing really good football, and I think they've won 2 of their last 3 since Joe Flacco took over. I don't know who's going to win this division. I'm going to say this. I think it's not going to be Jacksonville. I'm going to make a bold statement here. I said at the beginning of the year, everybody jumped on the Jacksonville bandwagon. I've been a Trevor Lawrence hater forever. I fucking hate Trevor Lawrence. He's a loser.
You're a noted Jags hater.
Yeah,
though.
he's a fucking loser. I mean, we'll talk about the Jags. We talked about the Jags earlier, but I just think, to me, the Texans or the Colts are going to find a way to win this division. Nothing has made sense in this division all year, so why would it start making sense now?
So you think the Jags are going to go 1-2?
I think the Jags are going to lose to the Bucs this week. I think they'll beat the Panthers, and I think the Titans will somehow upset them the final week. And I think, but I mean, just going 1-2, they could go 2-1, and if either of the Colts or the Texans win out, they would win the division. Like, that's possible. I mean, technically, actually, I would say the Colts have the easiest schedule of the 3. But, like, for example, let's say the Browns or the Texans beat the Titans and the Browns, and the Falcons beat the Colts beat the Falcons and the Raiders, and they go into that game where they both are 2-0. The Jags would have to win out to win the division because the winner of that game would be 11-6.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could happen. Like you said, it was a bold prediction, so it could happen. I don't think. The Texans have a lot of questions this week. Hopefully C.J. Stroud's back and Nico Collins can play because I guess if I support any NFL team, it's the Texans. So I hope they do make it in the playoffs. I do like DeMeco Ryans. I think the defense is young and they'll be much better next year. And they got a lot of young talent on that team. I just don't know. Like I said, depends on the injuries this week. And the Browns just keep finding ways to win football games somehow. So.
But let's
Joe Flacco magic.
Joe Flacco, man. Oh, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But on the other side, we have the Dolphins and the Bills, and it has looked, early in the year, the two met. The Bills absolutely destroyed them. I think everybody at that point thought, man, this team's one of the Super Bowl favorites. The season did not go as planned for Buffalo. They were 6-6 a couple weeks ago, had below a 10% chance to get in the playoffs.
I think they're 5-6.
They might have been 5-6. You're right. They were going into, even with a win yesterday over the Cowboys, they're just 30% to make the playoffs still. Largely, the reason that is because the Bills, of their 6 losses, 5 of them have come against AFC teams, and they have lost the tiebreaker against all other wildcard teams currently. Like, all the wildcard teams they either haven't played or they lost to. So they essentially lose every tiebreaker. So they have to be a game above of every other wildcard team in the race right now in order to win that wildcard spot. However, they somehow still have a shot at the division. And when you look at how it plays out, the Dolphins the next 2 weeks, they play home against the Cowboys and at the Ravens. You have to believe the way that the Dolphins have played against good teams this year, it would be a very big long shot to say they win both of those games, right? Like, more than likely they're going to lose one of those games. You look at the Bills' schedule the next 2 weeks. At the Chargers, just fired their head coach, just gave up 63 on defense last game to the Oakland Raiders, who don't have much of an offense. And then they go home and play the Patriots in a revenge game, who they lost to earlier this season. So, if the Bills win those 2 games, and the Dolphins do end up losing one of the 2 against the Cowboys or Ravens, that final game of the season, Week 18, in Miami will be for the division. And all of a sudden, the Buffalo Bills could host a playoff game. I mean, do you think that's a feasible outcome here?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to beat the Chargers and the Pats.
Right.
Unless something very strange happens. They're going to beat the Chargers and the Pats that are playing for absolutely nothing. And then we've touched on it all year. Although you're not a believer in the Bills, you're on the record saying you're certainly not a believer in the Dolphins. So, like, that game in Miami, you may pick the Dolphins, whatever, but it's a coin flip game, I would say. I mean, I think if the Bills win another 2 in a row and go in there 10-6, they're going to end up beating Miami. But I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I do think Buffalo is going to eventually get in because I think they do. I get what you're saying with the tiebreakers, and it'll be tough. But if they get to 10-7, I mean, I guess.
I actually
did they play do the Texans hold the tiebreaker against them too?
I don't know. All I know is this. I looked at it last night, and I'll tell you this. We're looking at this sheet right now, right, with all the wild card teams.
Yeah. There's a lot to break down there.
I'll put it on the screen. The only teams that they played of these 8, they lost to, right? So they lost to every team they played. It was 3 teams. I forget who it was. I think it's the Broncos. I know they lost to the Broncos.
Bengals, maybe they lose
Broncos, Bengals, when Joe Burrow was still healthy. And there was one other team. I think it might have been the Jaguars.
Yeah, they lost to the Jags in
London. Right.
Yeah.
So those 3 teams, they do not hold the tiebreaker. Like I said a minute ago, the next level when it's not a divisional race for tiebreakers comes down to conference record. The Bills are currently 8-6. 5 of their losses have come to AFC teams. They will not have the tiebreaker over any of the teams. So they essentially will have to have a better record than the Jaguars, the Texans, the Colts, the Browns, the Bengals, the Broncos, the Steelers, all of them, if they want to get in. Now, I get it. Probably you're looking at the Broncos and the Broncos who hold that tiebreaker and the Steelers, and they're probably out, right? Like, they would have to essentially win out just to even be in that conversation. But, I mean, it's not a stretch to think that 3 of those teams can end up with the 10-7 record. That's why I actually believe that if the Bills get in, it's only going to be as division champs. Because if they lose one of the next 3 games, I just don't see a scenario where they get in a wild card at 10-7 if they don't hold a tiebreaker, which they do not, right? So, like, how do they get in at that point? I think they don't.
Yeah, they might have to win out.
I think they have to win out. I mean, the only other way they could get in is if Miami maybe lost 2 of those games. They lost both the games to Dallas and the Ravens, and then the Bills win that last week. The Bills could drop one. That could happen too.
Could happen.
But again, in that scenario, the Bills would still only get in as a divisional champs. They would not get in the wild card spot. I think they're either hosting a playoff game or they are out. That's why they only have a 30% chance to make the playoffs.
Makes sense because they lose all that time.
Right, and if Miami wins the next 2 games, Miami's division champs, and now the Bills are playing that last week just to have a chance at a wild card spot. So it's going to come down to the wire. This is one of the wilder finishes.
Might not be horrible. It may be better off for the Bills at the Dolphins in that scenario if they do somehow win the next 2 games, which I don't necessarily think they will. But if they do and have that locked up, then you're playing the Bills with nothing to play for, trying to get healthy.
So
unless they're trying to get the number. Yeah,
that's the thing.
Maybe. I don't. Oh, yeah, because the Ravens still have to play. Well, it'll all come down to that Week 17 game between the Dolphins and the Ravens, though. Because if the Ravens beat the Dolphins and they're already a game up on them and hold a tie break.
But what you're saying is, in order for that to happen, the Dolphins would have to beat the Ravens. So then they would actually be the 1 seed at that point, and that last game would indeed matter. So
it's basically just going to come down to Buffalo having to win out.
They have to win out. Yeah. They really have to win out.
Or get really lucky with someone losing 2 games in front of them.
I mean, crazier things have happened. They could get in as a wild card, but going to be very, very tough. Looking at that wild card spot, who do you think the 3 wild cards, like let's say the Bills can only get in if they win the division, right? So we're looking at the rest of these teams, right? We have the Jaguars at 8-6. The Colts and the Texans are both 8-6. We've talked about them right now.
Yeah, one of those teams has to win a division.
Right. So let's say we have 3 wild card spots and one of those teams wins the division. The Browns look like they're the lead spot right now because they're a game ahead of everybody, and they're playing at the Texans versus the Jets and at the Bengals the last couple weeks. That's not the easiest schedule, but it's not a gauntlet either. We've got on the bottom the Bengals sit at 8-6. They've got the Steelers, Chiefs, and Browns left.
I don't think they're getting in playing those games. It could come down to the Browns and then Week 18 if the Browns drop a game or something, one more game, but. I don't know what the tiebreaker situation is there.
The Browns already beat them. It was that very first game when Joe Burrow threw for 52 fucking yards.
So then even if the Bengals do beat them that game, the Browns may end up I know you're breaking down all the extensive tiebreaker, division record, whatever. We don't have all that in front of us.
Right.
But if I had to say who's going to get in, I told you, I think the Jags will find a way, especially having the tiebreaker against the Colts since they swept them. I think they're going to win the division. And I think I'll say the Texans and Browns.
One more spot. There's 7 spots. So that's Jags win the division. That's 5-6. There's one more.
I'm just going to go Buffalo.
Buffalo? You're going to get in and get.
They're going to get in one way or the other.
Okay.
I just think they're going to win. I just don't. Like I said, it's a very easy schedule until the Dolphins.
Yeah.
And you get one game against the Dolphins. They're not going to lose to the Chargers or Pats.
I actually think I think this is an overreaction league. I think that the Bills are a flawed team, and I believe the Bills will lose that last week to the Dolphins, and they will miss the playoffs.
They certainly could.
I think they're not getting in. I think the Jaguars are going to get a wild card spot. They're not going to win the division. I think the Texans or the Colts, one of those teams will win the division. The other one will be out. I'm going to say, I'll go ahead and say this. I'll say I think the Texans are going to somehow win the division. I think they have a good spot this week against the Browns, and then they get the Titans and the Colts the last 2 weeks.
It just depends how healthy they are.
If
CJ Stroud's playing.
Agreed. But I think if the Texans win the division, Jags will get the 6th spot because I think the Browns are going to lock up that 5th spot, and then it's going to come down to the Bengals, the Colts, and the Broncos. The one thing about the Broncos is they hold that tiebreaker over the Bills. So if they do win out, and their schedule's really easy, they have Patriots, Chargers, Raiders. So they could easily finish 10-7. I would not be shocked if the Denver Broncos got in. It was a bad loss this week to the Lions. We saw Sean Payton losing his fucking mind at Russell Wilson, which I fucking thoroughly enjoyed.
Great.
It was great. He was losing his fucking shit on him. But yeah, I'm going to go with that.
So you're taking the Broncos?
I'm going to take the Broncos.
You're a Broncos homer, dude.
I'm a Broncos homer. I just...
They're going to lose week 18 to the Raiders. That's just a classic spot they lose in. Antonio Pierce, like the whole group's fired up, trying to keep his job. Like, think he's going to try. They're going to go out and beat the Broncos week 18.
The one thing I would love to see, though, is the Steelers lose out. I want them to go 7-10, and I want them to fire fucking Mike Tomlin, who has made a deal with the devil to have a winning season every year. I want to see him have a losing season.
What's going to happen with the Steelers is they have 3 games left. They're going to finish 8-8-1, and he'll not have another losing season.
That's probably exactly. They'll tie last week.
They'll tie against the Ravens last week.
I could see that 9-9 tie.
I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but he somehow made a deal with the devil to never have a losing record. So he's got to work a tie-in.
It's so funny watching ESPN and like Stephen A. Smith when the Steelers are doing bad. They like refuse to just shit on him. Like if another white coach had that same issue this year, they would shit all over him, but they just make excuses for Mike Tomlin left and fucking right. I'm sorry, it's the truth.
Never had a losing record, baby.
Yeah, well, he's missed the playoffs like 3 straight years. We'll move on to the NFC, and where we do have 3 teams who have locked up playoff spots here. It's a little bit more set. I know seeding is still up for debate here, but right now we have a clear-cut number 1 team. It's the San Francisco 49ers. They've looked like the best team all year with the exception of that weird stretch where they lost 3 straight in the middle of the year. Probably should have and could have won 2 of those 3 losses, but they're 11-3. The Eagles sit in the 2 seed now that the Cowboys dropped the game to the Bills last night. And the Eagles are 10-3 playing the Seahawks tonight. Jalen Hurts' status actually in question. He's been sick all week, and he may not play tonight. So it'll be interesting if Marcus Mariota gets the start. Can they win? Either way, it looks like with Dallas losing, that Philly's going to win the division because we know they have the tiebreaker if the 2 tie. The Lions got a big win this week. They're sitting in the 3 seed. They control the NFC North. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 7-7, although currently tied with the Saints. They hold the tiebreaker right now, and they are leading the division. And currently, if it ended today, they would host the Dallas Cowboys in a playoff game. Cowboys are the only other one with a locked-up playoff spot, even though they're not even going to win their division. They're 10-4, sitting at the 5 seed. 1 win for Dallas pretty much locks them into that 5 seed. But looking at the wild card race, it's another similar thing to the AFC, right? Lots of teams battling for this. In this case, it's 2 spots, 6 and 7 seed. Currently, the Vikings are 6th and the Rams are 7th. We have they're both 7-7. We also have the Saints 7-7. The Seahawks are 6-7. If they win tonight, that would be the 4th team at 7-7. The Packers, bad loss yesterday to the Bucs at home. They're 6-8 and the Falcons 6-8. Who gets in the NFC?
I think it's gonna stay. Well,
I don't know if the Vikings.
Well, here's the thing about the Vikings schedule. I think they can split the next 2 games against the Lions and Packers, right? They're both at home. Say they win one of those games, and then I think that the Lions, that last game they play, will already have the division locked up, and I think they may get kind of a backup game from the Lions.
They might be locked into that spot.
Because they're not going to catch them, obviously, for the division.
Right.
And then the Lions probably won't catch the Eagles, right? And then the Bucs can't catch the Lions. So that's probably just a get healthy game for the Lions week 18. So the Vikings might benefit from that. I really don't know so much about the Vikings, but I do think the Rams are going to get in. The Rams are playing pretty good football. They get to play the Niners the last week of the season, and that could be one of those spots, too, where the Niners aren't playing for
Right.
anything.
It depends on how
That's what they're
Philly
hoping. They're hoping for that.
I think really what's going to determine that is whether Philly wins tonight or not. Because if Philly wins tonight, the rest of their schedule is the New York Giants twice and the Arizona Cardinals. So they're probably going to win out. If they lose tonight, now the Niners essentially have a 2-game lead on them because they have the tiebreaker. So the Niners would have to lose 2 of their last 3, meaning 2 wins would then clinch the 1 seed. So I think that's going to come down to who wins tonight, Seahawks or Eagles. Obviously, the Seahawks have a little bit more to play for. What about the Saints? Do they have a shot to get in? They played pretty good yesterday. I know they didn't play a very good team, but they've looked a little bit better the last couple weeks. They're 7-7.
They could find a way to go 2-1 those last 3 games, Rams, Bucks, Falcons, but 2 away games. I think the Rams are going to beat. The Rams are playing better football, I think, than the Saints right now. I mean, the Rams obviously they were playing not a good Commanders team yesterday that looked like Hal got hurt in the middle of the game, whatever. But, I mean, the Rams on offense have been really tough to stop, and the defenses look better, and the Saints are not very dynamic on offense.
They're not dynamic on offense at all. I'm going to pose this question to you. Let's say, what's a good matchup if you're the Rams? Who would you want to play? Like, of the division, would you rather play the Lions, the Eagles?
It's a good question. Probably the Lions.
Really?
I know you're going to say Eagles because
100%.
You hate Jalen Hurts.
Because he sucks.
But Philly's a way tougher place to play outdoors against a team that runs the ball than Jared Goff in the playoffs. I mean, it's that simple in my opinion. Jared Goff's not very good. And I don't think Jalen Hurts is great either. We all know how you feel about Jalen Hurts. But the Eagles, they haven't looked great last couple weeks, obviously. But I really do think. Now, the Rams, I think, can give either one of them a good game. But I'm just saying the Rams with Matt Stafford and how they play have a much better chance of going into a dome and beating Jared Goff than going to Philly and beating the Eagles. In my opinion.
I would say this, though. I agree with you. And what shocked me was last week, the Rams went into Baltimore in weather against the second-best defense in the league, arguably, and put up 31 points. They threw all over that solid Baltimore defense. So, I don't know. To me, what's interesting is I think the Rams, and the reason I asked you that was I think the Rams are a horrific matchup for both those teams because both those teams have really bad secondaries. Both those teams give up tons of yards through the air, and that's what the Rams do well. Although, for some reason, Sean McVay must have been fucking high yesterday and was running Kyron Williams like 42 times. It was so fucking annoying having Stafford on my fantasy team. Just throw a goddamn touchdown.
Didn't work out for the fantasy team. That's funny.
But I think the Rams are a nightmare matchup for either of those teams.
I mean, both those teams would much rather play the Bucs. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but the other thing is the Cowboys win 1 of their last 3. They won't get to play them.
No, I know that. I'm just saying, like, in general, like, if you're Philly or you're Detroit and you could pick, hey, do we want to play the Rams or do we want to play the Bucs?
Yeah.
They would definitely rather play the Bucs.
Yeah, but the thing is, in order to play the Bucs, you have to go on the road, and then you have to go on the road again. So by getting the harder matchup, they still get the home field.
I'm just saying in general.
Right,
I'm not talking about like
of course
seats,
they would.
but I'm just saying the Rams right now are playing way better football than the Vikings.
I see.
And way better football than the Bucs.
Yeah.
Like you would not even. I mean, obviously, what I'm trying to say is basically they're right now.
Nobody wants to play the Rams.
The Cowboys would be obviously a top 4 team in the NFC, and then you would put the Rams as the 5th best team in the NFC.
I agree. Yeah. I agree.
Is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Long story short.
Yes. No, I completely agree. I think the Rams are like I said, a bad matchup for a lot of those teams. It's going to be interesting because I didn't think the Rams were going to be good at all this year, and they've been playing some really fucking good football.
Yeah, now that Cooper Kupp's back and you have Puka, they're hard to stop.
Yeah, the team I don't want to see in, I hate to say it, I know your buddy, your brother's buddy is the OC there, but I don't want to see the Vikings. They're so boring with Nick Mullins now at quarterback or fucking Josh Dobbs, whoever they trot out there, and I'm not a Kevin O'Connell guy.
I mean, I have family loyalties to them, so I wish they would get in for his sake, but you're right. They're pretty boring at this point.
They're fucking boring.
I mean, they can't. I mean, with Kirk Cousins, it'd be fun in there, but besides, with Dobbs or Mullins. Is Dobbs done or what?
I don't
what
know.
happened to him?
They
I
moved
know
him
they
to
basically just pulled him.
well,
but-
they moved him to the emergency backup, and they put Jaron Hall as the actual backup, which is so weird to me. Like, I know he's not playing well, and I don't like Josh Dobbs, but it's just weird. Why would you go trade for the motherfucker and then bench him completely
Seems like
that?
there has to be something wrong with him to put him behind, not Mullins, but the other guy. That
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense.
I don't know what that was.
I don't know.
I mean, essentially, he threw 4 interceptions in that night when they lost to the Bears at home, and then the next game he put up 0 points. The only 3 points that were scored came when he got pulled, and they put Mullins in against the Raiders. So it's 2 of the worst offensive outputs you could possibly have. So.
Didn't Mullins? I didn't see any of that game. Didn't he have a decent game against the?
Yeah, he played good.
Yeah.
I mean, he threw 2 picks, but
Well, that just shows you how bad Cincinnati's defense is.
they're horrible.
I mean, if a team that just could not run the ball on the Vikings, like they flat out can't run it. And they ran for 100-something yards on him.
Yeah, fucking tell me about it.
And Mullins threw for 200-something yards.
Yeah.
So I remember looking through the game cast and scored like, God, their defense is bad. And the fucking Bengals somehow won the game.
I know.
Which is just bizarre.
Because the Vikings' defense is
Yeah.
that bad as well. I mean, they gave up basically a Hail Mary pass to T. Higgins in the final 2 minutes of the game to tie it. And then, Nick Mullins couldn't get half a yard on 2 quarterback sneaks at the 40-yard line.
Yeah, you were telling me that. Didn't see it.
Brutal. But, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Give me right now, as we kind of wrap up this discussion on the playoff race. I think it's going to be fun to see how it plays out. Every game pretty much is going to matter, I think, going into the final week. Who do you think comes out of the NFC and AFC and plays in the Super Bowl? I think this isn't
Sticking with it, baby. 49ers and Bills.
Oh,
I've
my God.
been saying it for 10 weeks.
the Bills.
49ers and Bills.
The Bills. I think you're nuts.
I am.
Man,
There's no doubt about it.
You could honestly.
The AFC stinks, dude.
You could honestly have like a coin toss tournament and just in the AFC and just flip a coin for every game, and you have a better chance of picking who comes out of the AFC. I have no earthly idea. I'm gonna say, man, I cannot say the Dolphins. Like, I just can't trust Tua or Mike McDaniel. I'm not doing it, so I'm not gonna say the Dolphins. Man, I don't trust Lamar Jackson, but I think they're the best team in the AFC right now. I got to say the Ravens. I'm going to say the Ravens and the 49ers, a rematch of the Harbaugh Super Bowl, half a decade ago or however long that was.
One of Big Dog's favorite players, Colin Kaepernick.
Fucking Colin Kaepernick.
One of his all-time favorites.
What a bum he is. I told him he would be out of the league in 2 years after that, and he was. And that was not for the reasons that people think. He's just a bum quarterback.
Oh, no. That's very it's hurtful.
Well, I told you what was going to happen to Trevor Lawerence last night, and I was right. Y'all's boy did not have a good game. But yeah, I'm going to go with that. And I think we're pretty both in agreement that the 49ers are likely going to win the Super Bowl.
They sure look like it, especially with the way Debo's been playing lately.
Let me ask you one question real quick. For the MVP race, last night Dak did not play well whatsoever, obviously. The Cowboys get smoked. I think that probably killed his chances.
You already know what's going to happen. Why do you even want to ask me? Brock Purdy's going to win.
How
MVP.
ridiculous is that?
It's ridiculous. But your boy Tyreek has to have his wife text him on the sidelines to go back into the game. Then he didn't play this week.
The fact that he didn't play this week cost him the MVP.
Yeah.
If he played this week and he put up 150 and even if he didn't break the record but he got to 2,000, the way Dak played, I think you have to give it to him.
I think he would have had to break the record to get it, but I mean if he was playing like
he was going to
and wasn't hurt, he was going to break the record. So that sucks, but yeah, I mean at this point I think they're just going to give it to Brock Purdy. You could make an argument for Christian McCaffrey too.
He's not
give him the fucking ball. I mean, like it seems to me that Kyle Shanahan's trying to win Christian McCaffrey the MVP. And even he said it after the game. He goes, if there's any non-quarterback in the discussion, it has to be Christian McCaffrey. I mean, how many touchdowns has the guy fucking scored this year?
It's
a
ridiculous.
million?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I mean, I know he had that streak for consecutive games, but not only did he have that streak that finally, ended, but it was 2 or 3 touchdowns a game when he was in that streak. It was crazy.
It was ridiculous. I know he has 13 rushing touchdowns. I don't know how many receiving touchdowns.
I think they're going to end up giving it to Purdy. I mean, that's not
which
going
is
out
so
on a limb.
ridiculous to me. It's so annoying that, like, in all honesty, I don't even think he's the best player. I don't think he's I think I would say I would make an argument Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, you could make an argument Brandon Ayuk is more valuable than him. Definitely there's defensive players, Fred Warner. I mean, this dude is not, you could make an argument he's not even a top 5 player on his own fucking team, and we're going to give him the MVP because he's a quarterback? It's ridiculous.
Let me ask you this, and she asked me a question. So my Buffalo Bills, I'd laugh saying that, they went out.
Don't tell me Josh Allen.
If they go out 11-6. No, they were talking about, but no, after this game, absolutely not. Because he didn't do anything.
He had 95 yards passing.
Yeah. I mean, did you hear what he said after the game, too? It was pretty funny.
It was like he had
I feel like the kid in the project that didn't do anything but still got an A. But say they go 11-6, right? Say they win out. At that point, if they win out and they have the tiebreaker against the Chiefs. So if they're a higher seed than the Chiefs, who would you think is going to come out of the AFC?
Still would say the Ravens.
Yeah, but I mean barely. You're just saying that because their defense is pretty good.
Yeah.
But you don't trust Lamar Jackson.
I don't trust Lamar Jackson. I'm not saying that I like
in bad weather, because I was having this conversation with buddies the other day. I was like, gun to my head, I had to pick someone to go to the Super Bowl. I'm not picking the Bills. They're not even in the playoffs right now. I would take the Ravens just because of that defense and hope Lamar didn't make any big mistakes. Obviously, he could make really big plays too. I'm just saying in general. But if the Bills do get in at 11-6, and they are call them the 2 seed, and they surpass the Chiefs, and the Chiefs have to go play the Bills in Buffalo, they're not going to beat the Bills in Buffalo, I don't think.
Yeah.
And I don't think, and I certainly, them playing the Ravens, which is not going to be good weather in Baltimore either, that's going to be a close game as well, in my opinion.
To me, you just cannot sell me on the fact that they have Sean McDermott as their head coach. I mean, I just think this, like I said earlier, we overreact to what we've seen recently. It's a recency bias thing.
Oh, for sure.
Josh Allen in that game against the Chiefs, not just Josh Allen, Sean McDermott too, all of them, none of them looked fucking good after the first quarter and a half against Kansas City. They didn't play good. Yesterday against the Cowboys, let's be honest. Yes, that was on paper, that was an impressive win. The Cowboys have been dog shit on the road.
It's terrible.
And the Bills really didn't have to do all that much to beat them. Like, the Cowboys beat themselves a lot of the time. The Bills' defense has not been very good all year. They had tons of injuries, and Dallas scored one offensive touchdown. It was the last series of the game when it was over. Yeah. So, to me, there's nothing impressive about the Bills to me. The defense to me is subpar, in all honesty. And here's the thing, and this is you can respond to this, but to me, look at the game against the Eagles. Look at the game against the Chiefs. Both of those earlier in the year against the Patriots, against the Broncos, every single time a team has a drive to win the game against that defense, they've scored every single time. The only exception is the Chiefs, and that was because Kadarius Toney, and I hate that Mahomes complained about it, and it was the correct call 100%, and I didn't like any of his comments, but the truth is that, in all honesty, more than likely, if the flag wasn't called, it probably didn't gain him that much of an advantage, and they probably score anyway on that play, and they probably win the game. So my problem is they don't have a very good defense, despite what people think. Their coach, you're going to tell me I would take fucking Doug Peterson over Sean McDermott. That should tell you something right there.
He's a fucking genius.
He's a fucking idiot is what he is. He's
goddamn genius, Super Bowl winner, and author.
His
big dog's not here.
You're gonna like the graphic I have for the Jaguars on there. It's got Doug Peterson holding his book up, and it does not say the name of the book on there. It says "Losing for Dummies" on it.
Your dad will be offended by that.
Yeah, he's not gonna like that one, but. Yeah, to me, dude, I know you like the Bills, and look, I think they're going to be the hot pick. I think if they get in, everybody's going to say, the Bills are the hot team.
Here's the thing about the Bills, though. When it comes to actually breaking them down, I don't think they're that good.
They're not.
But the AFC fucking sucks. That's my point. So are you going to take a team like the Ravens, who I don't know, talking about the health of Mark Andrews, he hadn't been around lately. We'll see how that plays out in the playoffs. If the Bills, in my opinion, get in, and maybe the Ravens would be favored to beat them in Baltimore.
Yeah.
But my whole point is, the Bills, in my opinion, I think Sean McDermott's not good as well. I do the way Joe Brady has done. What he's done is, he's not a wizard calling plays, but he's gotten them to where they can run the ball.
Right.
And sure, the Cowboys were having a light box, whatever, and that's on
Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn. He's an idiot. Was an idiot yesterday anyway.
Yeah.
And he was just trying to game plan for the Bills how 90% of people game plan for the Bills.
Right.
They don't usually run the ball. They handed it off. credit to Joe Brady, who handed the ball 25 times to James Cook and said, okay, if this is where you're going to do it the box and it's raining outside, I'm just going to keep fucking handing the ball off.
And it worked.
And it worked fine. But in my opinion, I do not think, especially with Travis Kelce, who's been non-existent since he started dating Taylor Swift. The guy's fucking worthless. So with those receivers on the road in Buffalo, and Travis Kelce doesn't care about football, apparently he's talking about marrying Taylor Swift, riding off into the sunset.
After how many months have they been dating?
The Chiefs I don't think they have any shot of making it through. I mean, Mahomes is obviously the best quarterback of the group. This year, they're just not going to get through. Like we said, Jags, no way. The Browns with Flacco maybe win a game.
What's sad is I think if the Browns, and I'm not a big Deshaun Watson guy, but I think if Deshaun had the whole season under his belt, Nick Chubb's not injured, and that offensive line is healthy.
Oh, they would win the NFC.
They would win the AFC for sure.
I mean, the AFC,
yeah, they would win the AFC. I think that they are the best overall team. The defense is arguably the best defense in the league. And you have, if you had Deshaun Watson getting a whole other year under his belt, they probably have a slightly better record than they do now if he plays. They probably are 10-4 more than likely. Chubb was a huge thing because honestly, they can't run the ball anymore. The last couple of weeks, they've been relying on Flacco to throw for 300-plus yards to win the games. But
which is crazy. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. I mean, with the way they run it with Chubb, and I just think the AFC, that's why I'm sticking with the Bills, honestly.
I don't hate it.
Kind of as a joke, because I've been with them the whole year, but I just look at this AFC, and it's just not any good. So I just figure if they do get in, I'll just stick with my pick from the beginning of the season because there's a shot. But I do agree with you that, gun to your head, if you had to pick somebody to get there, it would be the Ravens.
Yeah. I will say, I was looking at Christian McCaffrey's stats. They are not MVP worthy. I know he's going to finish with better stats than he's got now. He does have 20 total touchdowns, 7 receiving, 13 rushing.
That seems like he's got more than that. That's crazy.
It does, right? Well, it's because he had a stretch in the middle of the season where I think it was that stretch right before they started losing games.
In one fantasy football game, I think he scored 4 touchdowns on me in one of the games.
I don't
know who they were playing. It was Arizona maybe earlier on, and they just kept handing
the very
him the
first
ball.
game he scored 3 touchdowns against Arizona.
That's what it was. I don't know.
Yeah, but he scored 3 touchdowns yesterday, and
that's what I mean. So how does it?
Oh wait, I'm sorry. That he scored 3 touchdowns against Arizona week 4. My bad. And then he scored 3 yesterday. Fucking Arizona, man. I hate Jonathan Gannon. All right, that will wrap up our episode here of the SLOBBERKNOCKER Sports Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. We are going to be in our new studio from here on out. It's been a great first episode in the new studio. Don't forget, please make sure to like and comment. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you get a shot to win that jersey, the Wembanyama Spurs Fiesta jersey. Make sure to give us a 5-star rating on whatever podcast platform you like to listen to. We're now on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, you name it, we're on it. So just search SLOBBERKNOCKER Sports. I'll put links in the description. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a great Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever holidays you celebrate or abide by. And thanks for tuning in. Festivus, there is definitely some Festivus followers out there. But thanks for tuning in. And make sure to subscribe to all of our content and follow me on TikTok at DylanLake21 and follow the podcast most of all on Instagram and Twitter at SlobPot. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.